Hello students, this will be our introduction to the character of Heracles. You are probably more familiar with the Roman name of Hercules, but we'll be reading the Greek myth of Heracles. Heracles continues our study into immortality. We began with Gilgamesh, took a look at modern day Raymond Kurzweil. Now we will go back to mythology by looking at Heracles. We will also use this myth as an introduction to Greek mythology in general. We'll encounter a great hero with some fantastic locations that you've likely heard of, and get to know the Greek gods and goddesses a little better. This hero has much in common with the heroes that we've already taken a look at. You might be familiar with Heracles in a number of other ways also, so let's have a proper introduction to him. Heracles was brought to the big screen a number of times. Very famously, Arnold Schwarzenegger's very first feature film was called Hercules in New York. It was also known by the title Hercules Goes Bananas. It's a basically terrible movie, but one of those so bad it's good type of affairs. So if you ever get the opportunity to watch it on Netflix or someplace else, grab a bowl of popcorn and be prepared to Mystery Science Theater 3000 throughout the entire thing. Some of you might even have caught some reruns of Kevin Sorbo's Hercules, The Legendary Journeys. I know that I grew up with these on television, usually back-to-back with a Xena warrior princess. But this is one encounter you may have had with the character of Hercules. There are a number of real-world references that we'll encounter in the myth of Hercules. Let's take a look at some of them. Our first example is a location known as the Pillars of Hercules. Those Pillars of Hercules are located between Spain and Morocco, which go through what is known as the Strait of Gibraltar. And if you were to take a look at it, it looks just like this. You can see it from one side heading all the way over to the other. These are the Pillars of Hercules. You'll read about this today. Another location that is going to be encountered in our reading that was made into a real-life place is something called the Tower of Hercules. This is very near and dear to me because the Tower of Hercules is in A Coruña, Spain, where my family is from, because I am Spanish. So according to that myth, which blends Celtic and Greco-Roman parts, and as you will read, Hercules slays a giant after a pretty epic battle, and then buries the head of that giant along with his weapon, and declares that a city be built on top of it as a way to show that that location is now safe and free from harm. So a lighthouse atop a skull and crossbones represents the buried head of that giant that was slain. That appears on the coat of arms for the city of A Coruña that looks just like this. Now you are perhaps familiar with coats of arms as something that perhaps your family has or that you recognize from certain cities. Many cities have a coat of arms. And one of Spain's mid-populated cities is A Coruña, a very important port city in northwestern Spain. And this is what its flag looks like. So the legend of Hercules is quite important to that community. Here's a picture of the giant that he slew. Roar! But most likely, you are all familiar with Hercules because you are all Disney fans. So his animated hijinks were captured by Disney or retold by Disney in the 1997 animated film. It is mostly inaccurate and is very much Americanized and commercialized. So when you read the myth today, and as we discuss it, it will be very different from what you believe your knowledge of Hercules is. Somewhere down the line, if all things go according to plan, after we've had some more inquiry into the commonalities in these quests for immortality, we will watch Disney's Hercules and take a look at how different it is and how far it has strayed from the original text. So today's assignment will be to start by reading the Heracles text, which is linked on the Google Classroom. You can read it by yourself. You can read it with a partner. You could read it with your entire table. It does not matter to me, just so long as you read the myth. Nobody will be permitted to sit on the couch during this time. You should then, as you are reading or after you have read, answer the questions that I have on the Google form. That is also linked on the Google Classroom. There are 18 questions. This assignment is worth 18 points and is simply graded for correctness. You should be warned that a simple Wikipedia or Google search would not give you all of the correct answers. There are different versions of the myth. I am only interested in the information that you learn in the copy of the myth that we use in our class. Last year, students tried to get out of reading the myth by simply doing a Google search or reading on Wikipedia. Those answers do not net you anywhere near a perfect score. Those students failed it horribly. I found it hilarious, and they did not. So read this myth, because if you have any interest in enjoying the film of it, you'll want to be successful with the compare and contrast assignment which follows up watching that film. So you will need to have read the myth. After you have read the myth and completed those questions on the Google form, take some time to complete the Gilgamesh versus Heracles assignment. So on the Google Classroom today, the assignment that is right there at the top, as with any other assignment we've had, in the top right hand of that post, there'll be a button that you can click that says Open. Open that up and all the links for today will be there, including the assignment, which looks like a grid and has 3 columns. On the left-hand column, it has a category, and then I'm asking how that is seen in Gilgamesh, so I'll ask you to think back and remember Gilgamesh, and then also how you saw that in Heracles. When you have finished that, turn in that assignment so that I know you have completed it. Submit it, turn it in. So that is what I am looking for you to accomplish today. Please do so in a very classroom appropriate fashion. My expectation is that you will finish this assignment today in class. It can be done. If you do not finish this assignment in class, it becomes homework. And I can make that very clear by just adding that along here. If you do not finish these assignments in class, it is homework. That is also true if you are absent for any reason. So when you return to me next class period, we should all be able to move forward with the same from the same starting point. So get to work. Enjoy reading the story and seeing where Heracles goes and how he handles things and what he does after the labors. And this will be a good starting point for us to discuss the character and all of these commonalities about a quest for immortality. Thank you.